Welcome, everyone, to another episode. We are very excited about today's show. But before we begin, we got Jessie Ledoux with our product feature of the week. Jessie, tell us what you got for us.
Hey, Stephen, it's been a while since we talked about our Pageant Daily newsletter. So I wanted to remind everyone of our listeners and our new followers on Pandora and Spotify and iTunes and anywhere else you're listening to this podcast that we have a totally free newsletter that gets delivered right to your email inbox every single day, jam-packed with information, pageant-related, world-related, that can help you prepare for your pageant.
Love that. Okay, so give us kind of a breakdown of some of the sections that's in our Pageant Daily.
So in our Pageant Daily, we have a general tip every single day, literally a tip every day. So especially if you're newer to pageants, but if you're seasoned, you might find a gem here or there too. We have a featured product that goes live. A lot of the times we will drop our sales there first. So if we ever have limited quantities, you're the first to know to make sure you scoop it up before we run out, because a lot of these are on high demand. We go through pageant news. If you're finding a pageant system will be featured, you might want to use that in your interview to prepare for potential interview questions. We have world news. We feature our weekly podcast details, just like you're listening to, and our question of the day, among others. So we get a lot of contestants that say they wake up, they open their email inbox, and they scroll right through Pageant Daily, and it's the first thing they do every single morning. It makes them feel more prepared and more confident and more overall just like feeling ready to conquer the day and the pageant.
Okay, so where can they go to sign up for it, and do they need to sign up for it, and like is there a cost, all that stuff?
Yeah, so you can visit the Pageant Daily any day of the week by going to pageantplanet.com and clicking on articles. And it will always, well, I shouldn't say always, but almost always be the first article updated, and it's called Pageant Daily. So if you didn't want to get it in your email, which I don't know why you wouldn't, you can always view it there every day. And if you scroll to the bottom of that article, you can sign up right then and there. And again, like I said, it's totally free, and you can unsubscribe at any time. So if you finish competing in pageants and you know it's the end of the road for you, it's really simple. Just get rid of it from your inbox.
That's great. And I'll drop the link directly in the show notes, so you don't even need to like go searching for it. You can just click away. So, all right. Thank you, Jessie.
Welcome to Pageant Planet's podcast, where we share stories and strategies to help expand and connect the global pageant community. Visit pageantplanet.com to find pageants, hire coaches, shop for dresses, and more. Now, here's your host, Stephen Roddy.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode. Today, Jessie and myself, we are going to be discussing the life story of Savvy Shields Miss America 2017. And actually, welcome to all of our Pandora listeners. This is the very first episode that will go live on Pandora, since all of our episodes are there. So a shout out to Pandora for getting us on there. We are the only pageant podcast on there right now, and it's had to be approved and all that kind of stuff. So we are in the fold. So that is great. So Jessie, we're transitioning back to the story now. Set the stage for us about Savvy.
So, Stephen, I was going to say something funny about it being like our episode count. Like, okay, this is episode 1,072,000. Welcome to our Pandora listeners. You have a lot of catching up to do. But I wasn't thinking as wittily as I would have liked to be able to come through. But anyway, well, I tried. Yeah. Just know, listen, I tried.
I thought that was pretty witty, personally.
Oh, thank you. I just wish I would have like interrupted you and been like, episode 100 million. Anyway.
We can consider a redo. Yep. Okay. Savvy Shields.
Savvy, we won't redo. Our listeners like this stuff.
Yeah, indeed.
I hope, if they are still listening at this point.
Okay.
Anyway, for the 45th time, at Pageant Planet, so this is Savvy Shield, at Pageant Planet, we're committed to helping you prepare for your pageant, no matter what system you compete in. And we absolutely support trying out new systems based on your current goals and your skill sets, because we know that there are so many pageants that fit all different qualities and strengths. And ultimately, we feel like this flexibility can even make you more qualified and prepared than just sticking to one. And one of the most famous pageants and longest running pageants is the Miss America Scholarship Competition. And we hear so many contestants talk about how that is their goal, like being Miss America. That's the ultimate. And they won't compete anywhere else because it may not have the same notoriety, or they don't want to lose eligibility even for 1 year. However, like Miss America 2017, Savvy Shields proves to us that just like publicity, No experience is bad experience. And in fact, the variety can even help you uncover your truest self in new ways.
Yeah, and I think you were the one that said this to me right after Savvy was crowned. You said, I think Savvy Shields is the most Miss America name ever.
Ever.
Yeah, it's very Miss America name. And I think if one thing that Savvy will show our listeners, to you out there that are listening, either if you're from the Philippines, South Africa, Australia, UK, Canada, and beyond, that you don't have to have a crazy, dramatic story, ups and downs, to experience tremendous success in pageantry, which you're going to learn from the life of Savvy Shields.
And I'll say, too, Savvy, you'll learn from her timing here, doesn't compete every single year forever. I mean, she really took breaks in between competing, which, again, pageant experience is valuable, but so is life experience. And you'll see how she really takes that and uses it to propel her towards success. So let's get to know the inside scoop of, even though her stage name or Miss America name is Savvy Shields, she was born Savannah Janine Shields.
And I feel like you cannot talk about Savvy's early life without smiling. I mean, she's really just the salt of the earth as it gets. And obviously it's why she's loved by so many. And our Instagram comments, I mean, there's so many people just pouring out love, like when they knew that we were going to be featuring Savvy. And Holly_on_Instagram said, I was Miss Philadelphia when she won Miss America, her being Savvy. I met her towards the end of the year when we both attended an appearance together. She was swarmed by people wanting to meet her. I reluctantly approached the crowd, hoping to get my chance to share a moment with her. She saw me coming, opened her arms to me with a warm smile and said, "Hi, sister." And I knew right then that we had a good one. First impressions are everything. Her light shines so undeniably bright, and I'm humbled to not only have met her, but to know that young girls everywhere look up to her. Like, she really is a wonderful human. And like when I don't know, you knew this, but I put together the autograph session for all the Miss Americas last year. And so basically all the former Miss Americas are on all these tables back to back. And then I'm doing kind of crowd control and organizing the women and all that. And like the crowd to get items autographed by Savvy was like 2 and 3x. I mean, it was so many people there. And there towards the end, I mean, the time was ticking. So I was just like, all right, unlock like all the ribbons and just let people flock to whoever they wanted. And the line behind Savvy, again, it was so congested because so many people wanted to meet and connect with her.
It's wild. And she has these really great roots. I mean, she was born and raised in Fayetteville, Arkansas, which is the home of Wal-Mart, Tyson Foods, University of Arkansas. So it's definitely got that traditional Southern Belle feel. And her parents, Todd and Karen, lovely people. And she has one brother, Dane, and she's very close to him. She's always posting about how much she's proud of him and how much she loves him. And this is my favorite, Stephen. She was baptized in a horse trough.
I mean, I guess Jesus doesn't care how it happens, just that it happens, right?
Amen.
So according to her website, art has always been a huge part of Shields' life, and she would beg for art stuff, air quotes, every holiday and runs to local craft stores. And when she grew up, she got to be a really angsty teenager. And
didn't we all?
Yeah, and she still had her love for art. But I feel like that's a very Arkansas, kind of thing to do.
Oh, for sure. And it stuck with her because after graduating from high school, she went on to study at the University of Arkansas in her hometown. And eventually she chose art as her major. Like, that's how much she loved it. It wasn't just a form of expression. It was what she wanted to do. And she very wisely also minored in business. And during her time there, she also joined the Gamma Nu chapter of Kappa Kappa Gamma sorority. So she was a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Well, so Savvy was first introduced to the Miss America organization when she was 8, probably a lot of similar stories to a lot of the women who can commit like mentally to the title at a young age. I mean, like, there are like Miss America lifers, right?
I started that way too, like same deal, like 8 years old and like watching it with my mom. And she remembers like watching the competition on television with her mother. And when her mother told her something along the lines of, you could do that someday, which like good on you, Karen, for helping build your daughter's dream. Like love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the age of 12, like she finally went to watch a mentor compete at a local pageant for Miss Arkansas. And the pageant was Miss University of Arkansas. And she was just in awe. I mean, watching the young women perform and speak and wear beautiful dresses, it just totally had her hooked. And she knew that when she was old enough that she wanted to perform on stage too. And so what that did is that kind of inspired her to like compete in Miss Arkansas Outstanding Teen 2009, which, you know, that's when Pageant Planet started. So yay.
Yeah.
So when she was 13, Savvy competed in her first local. It was Miss Heart of the Ozarks Outstanding Teen. Anytime I hear Ozarks now, I think of the Netflix show.
The show?
Ozarks. Yeah. Which is, you know, I like it. But
why do I think the Ozarks are in Michigan? Isn't the show in Michigan?
You know, I don't know what state it is, but I think it's one of those things
The
where
Ozarks be pretty big, right?
yeah, I think that
That's
it's kind of
so
like
cool.
Athens, where a lot of states within America has a city or whatever named Ozarks.
All right.
Maybe? I don't know. We'll just go with that.
Yeah, sure.
So anyways, she competed in Miss Heart of the Ozarks Outstanding Teen. And back then, and for those of you that don't know, Miss Heart of the Ozarks Outstanding Teen is a part of Miss America's Outstanding Teen organization. But anyways, back then the contestants were still wearing outfits for an activity of their choosing with props versus like a standard routine, which they have today. And for her activewear, she wore a tennis outfit and brought a tennis racket out on stage with her.
And for her talent, like we all know, she showcased her dance skills. She has loved performing so much for a long time, and talent was one of the things she was most excited about. And because she was so young, it was like winning was secondary, especially like at her young age. She was like, you know what? I might not win, but I love performing. So like, let's just do this. And I think that brings us to our first coaching moment of the day. And it's to never rule yourself out. And I think there's a huge difference between going after something that you feel others might be more qualified for, or like going out with another goal in mind, like Savvy's was to perform. And the difference is like some people take themselves out of pursuing it in the first place when they feel like they don't compare.
Yeah, completely. And I feel like when you have a goal that's outside of just winning, you're able to relax. And I mean, name an activity. It doesn't matter what it is. You're performing better when you're relaxed, be it sports, be it just, you know, connecting with people in a social environment or performing on stage musically. When you're relaxed and you're just like having a good time and enjoying the moment, you always like shine your best.
Mm-hmm. And we had a similar conversation a few weeks ago on the podcast about contestants who dropped out of a pageant when they hear who else is competing and like not okay at all. And Savvy knew that even though she was young, she was competing for the experience and the opportunity to perform. She didn't say, no, I'll wait till I'm older because that's who normally wins. She allowed herself to like to be in the moment and let the judges decide. And we talked to a lot of contestants who are transitioning from pageant life to career. And I have the same conversation with a lot of them trying to get into the workplace. It's easy to look at a job description very literally and count yourself out. And if it's a position you want to work, like if you want a position, work through the qualifications that you do have that you feel are parallel and allow them to say like, no, thank you. But at least put your hat in the ring because you never know.
Yeah, completely. And so Shields won one out of the two Outstanding Teen titles of the pageant. She was crowned Miss Heart of the Ozarks Outstanding Teen 2009. And after her crowning, Shields writes on her website, like, I walked over like Bigfoot towards my best friend who just won Miss Dogwood's Outstanding Teen, and our crowns got caught together. And the moment was actually captured on a YouTube video, which I'll put in the show notes. But it almost looks like she hits her friend's nose because her friend like staggers back and kind of like holds her nose. So I don't know if her friend was crying or if she really did like whack her nose, but it's actually kind of funny.
Miss Concussion Outstanding Teen. And for the record, I did quickly do a Google on the Ozarks, and it's Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and extreme southeastern Kansas. So I think I was thinking Michigan and it was Missouri and Netflix.
Okay, got it. It's
that way we don't get any messages, but so we know now.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next morning, Savvy was told that she'd be competing at the Miss Arkansas Outstanding Teen pageant, and like she said that she actually had no idea there was even a state pageant for this. And I said the same thing. I won my local. I had no idea. So she might just wanted to have done it, which is even better. But as fate would have it, in June of 2009, She just went 2009. Why is that so hard? She said 2019. And she was 13, like the youngest contestant to ever win the title of Miss Arkansas Outstanding Teen. And she claims like she was in complete shock and she was even confused. Like, what? What? Why me? Like, I'm so young. But even then, like at 13, she knew she was there for a reason.
Yeah, it's those cute dimples. I think it just helped her like so much. But she then went on to compete at the 2010 Miss America's Outstanding Teen Pageant on August 15th, 2009, Jesse, at the Orange County Convention Center located in Orlando, Florida. And while she did not place, nor did she win any awards, Shields returned to her home state and served her reign with passion. And Savvy wrote on her website about her reign. She said, I grew more that year than I could have ever imagined. I could go on a whole rant of all the things I learned, and maybe I will later. But for now, I'll spare you that all. However, what's most important for y'all, very Arkansas, for y'all to know is that my sister queen was the most loving, compassionate, intelligent, servant-hearted, passionate, and inspiring woman I have ever met. Miss Arkansas 2009, Sarah Collins showed me the power of one voice. I got to witness firsthand how she impacted and loved an entire state, and I decided I wanted to grow up and be just like Sarah. But I knew I had to wait.
And she took a small break from competing at that point. Like, so that was 2009. I can say it now. I've been practicing while you were talking. And then she took like a 3-year break from pageants. She returned to the pageant stage in 2013. And she was crowned Miss Arkansas Collegiate America, so a totally different system altogether. And then a few months later, she won her first national title. She was Miss Collegiate America, and she was crowned in Orlando. So that brings me to one of my favorite coaching moments. It's to try other systems and take your time. And for most pageants, you have a multi-year age range that you're able to compete with, which means you don't have to be one and done. Like, you don't get one shot, 1 year of your life. You can often kind of pick and choose when it works best for you or come back year after year. And if your goal is to go to Miss America, or I guess like very similarly, Miss USA, like you have like 7 years of eligibility. And I totally understand the draw to compete every single year out of that 7 if you're lucky enough to qualify, because you never know when it's like going to be your shot to go to Miss America. If you have 7 years, like why, like, of that 7, what year could it be? So you never know when it's your shot. And I absolutely think there's something to be said for having the opportunity to compete at the next level of a pageant. So whether it's from local to state, state or national, national to international, the level increases and allows you to grow as a contestant. Have you seen that, Stephen?
Yeah, completely. And what I've also seen is like there's a fear factor that contestants have where if they want to, again, like win Miss Universe, or we see it primarily in Miss America, there's this fear of, oh my gosh, if I compete in another system, I'm going to be ostracized from winning Miss America. It's going to lessen my chances. And the truth of the matter is that, I mean, we see historically a lot of girls that went on to experience success have competed in other systems, and they've tried out systems that's for them. And we've also seen girls not have any kind of success in the crowning realm, right? And let's say a Miss America, and then they stop competing in Miss America, find another pageant that they're better suited for, either that's passionately or just like their skill set or whatever, and they experience tremendous success. And I feel like, you know, you're one of those shining examples of that, because you competed in the Miss America system, and then you didn't get as far as you wanted. And then you transitioned.
I don't have a talent. You took 24 years old to realize, just wise up.
Right. And it's like, play to your strengths. I mean, that's what every like sports coach and anybody like that would say, like, play to your strengths. So why not compete something that like you have an opportunity to succeed at naturally without having to become something that you're not. So, I mean, I would really encourage everybody listening, like, use our directory. It's free, and like shop around for pageants if you're not happy or if you're not experiencing the success that you want to in your particular system. And like Savvy did, you could always come back around.
I've never seen a contestant who went to the next level in another system and then came back to a different pageant and regressed. It always is growth. And moral of the story, if you have hit a plateau in the pageant you want to win and still have time to compete, so say you have 3 years of eligibility left and maybe you didn't win a local to qualify, or maybe you didn't win the state to qualify for nationals, see if there's another pageant you can fast track. Maybe you can get an at-large title and jump ahead. At the very least, you'll be out of your comfort zone and you'll learn a few new hair and makeup tricks at the very least by your fellow contestants at that new pageant. So I can't say enough. And I really wish in my pageant career, I wouldn't have had such tunnel vision, because I look back, I'm like, how much time did I waste jumping ahead to my personal growth? So that's a big coaching moment. Don't be so tied to one system, because the experience is the experience.
Yeah. And sometimes, and I'm not saying that this was your issue, but I'm just, if it were me, sometimes it would be a pride thing. I could see it being a pride thing for me. If I'd say, I'm going to win Miss America, and then I'm not experiencing success in Miss America, I would feel kind of like I'm giving up on my dream if I competed like, Savvy did with Miss Collegiate. Because I'm like, no, my goal is like Miss America, right? So I would feel that, and I would be almost kind of embarrassed to tell other people. So maybe I'm like, nope, I'm going to stick it out in Miss America. I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to stick it out. Versus just like, no, the goal is like, maybe my goal is to push my career forward. Maybe my goal is scholarship money. Maybe my goal is something else that maybe another system can ultimately give me outside of Miss America. So then you just, make that transition over. So, just that's the beauty of pageantry, is it really causes you to reflect internally and to say like, why am I doing these things? And I just, you've said it, that you were the best version of yourself when you competed. And I just see that time and again of like what crash course in personal development that competing is.
Oh, for sure. And it's one of those things where like you might find a different system works for you. And Savvy didn't compete for Collegiate America and think like, I'll never go back to Miss America. It was like, okay, this is right for me right now. So your goal competing in other systems can still be, I want to be Miss USA or I want to be Miss America. You also, like, if you read the article on our website about the best prize packages, you would be amazed at the quality of prize packages for systems that are not, quote unquote, the mainstream. And some of them include modeling contracts. They include photo shoots. They include custom evening gowns, lessons, all of those things that, you can use when you go back to the quote unquote hallmark systems, right? And propel you to be successful.
Oh yeah. Remember like all expense trips to Dubai and like all expense trips to like, the Bahamas and cruises. And it's crazy the amount of packages. So yeah, definitely shop around, because I know that after we release that article, some people would be like, man, they're like, I wish I would have known. I had no idea that these other pageants had it. So that's why we do these things. All right.
Heck yeah. All right. Talk about Miss Arkansas.
Okay. So she then took a step away from the pageant stage, for a couple of years, actually. Yeah. Again, so she didn't feel the need that I have to compete. And then Savvy, she stepped back into the pageant spotlight. She said, I saw that Miss Arkansas was a job in which I needed to be emotionally, spiritually, and mentally mature for. Fast forward 7 years later to my junior year of college, I had gone through some pretty serious moments in my life. More info on that later, quotes. And I felt as if I had, quote, found myself, or at least that I was ready to start competing again.
And in October of 2015, she returned to the stage where she won her local Miss Ozark Outstanding Teen. And it was part of the Ozarks, sorry. And she was terrified, and she'd convinced herself that she was only good as a teen. Like she had a little bit of like a breakdown, and she had a real fear of letting people down.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Like what we do to ourselves, how we self-sabotage. It's just, gosh, it's organic. Like you don't have to put in any effort to self-sabotage.
Nope.
Like you just sit there and negative thoughts will just come, and they never come, right? My negative thoughts don't come to me like, Steven, you are not good enough. My negative thoughts come to me that says, I am not good enough. And they come out of nowhere. And I've always heard that the devil talks to you in first person. Oh, wait. Yeah. First person is when you say I?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So the devil talks to you in first person. So he will whisper in your ear saying, I am not good enough. He doesn't say, you are not good enough. Because if he said, you are not good enough, it would be very easy to recognize. But if
Sure.
he whispers, I am not good enough, you think it's your own thoughts. But really, it's just negative vibe. It's the devil. It's something else like that that's putting these thoughts in your mind that you're just like, you can choose not to accept it. And that's something that's really helped me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Shields won the title of Miss Heart of the Ozarks 2016, and the win qualified her to compete at 2016 Miss Arkansas pageant. And during the next 10 months, Shields threw herself into preparing for the job of becoming Miss Arkansas and potentially Miss America. She wrote of her preparations on her website.
She said her mindset for Miss America was to give 2,000%. If she won, that was fantastic. If she lost, she knew it wasn't because she didn't work hard enough. She worked out twice a day, practiced her talents for hours, and when it came to performing her talent on stage, all she had to do was press play. Mock interviews, an annual activity, watching the news every morning and every night became a habit. And something hilarious she admits is when she was running on the treadmill, she would watch previous Miss America competitions on YouTube so she could literally run towards her dreams. And now she wishes someone would have caught her on camera when she was doing that, because it would have been hysterical to look back on.
That's awesome. Talk about visualization, right? So Miss Arkansas Week finally arrived, and Savvy had total peace knowing that she did everything possible to prepare herself. And this allowed her to just embrace the excitement of the week, because it really is an exciting time if you are prepared. And her preparation paid off. As a first-time Miss contestant, Shields won both the Alpha and the overall awards. And I really feel like this is a coaching moment. It's very much similar to studying a test when you're in like high school, for example. And if you are not prepared going into that test and that test slides across your desk, you are super stressed. You're all in your head thinking like, oh, like I didn't study. I mean, what's this question? And you like hot flashes, etc. Versus if you've studied well enough in advance, when that test comes, like, and you walk into that test room knowing that you've done everything that you could do to prepare. So you're more relaxed, you're more calm, you can think through more clear. And I really feel like this is the competition, and this is the essence of how you should prepare for your pageant. So what this looks like in pageantry terms is when you're practicing your interview at home, or maybe with us in a mock interview session, like on Pageant Planet, don't always show up in your sweatpants with your makeup not done, your hair not done, because you're not practicing like you're actually going to compete. So, or when you're walking in your heels, don't always just walk in your heels in sweatpants, right? You want to put on like what you're going to be wearing on the day of the event, because here's what happens is when you're wearing your sweatpants and your heels and you're walking around the house, you know that it's practice, right? And if you train yourself like that day in and day out, day in and day out, day in and day out, if the only time you practice or that you're wearing your dress is on the day of the pageant, when you're walking in your heels, all of a sudden your body knows it's different because you're putting on the dress, you're now putting on your makeup, you're putting on your hair, and then like your body's like, whoa, no, this is like the real deal now. This is the real, versus like if you're like, you know, if I'm to exaggerate to prove a point, if you were to get full hair, full makeup, your dress and heels, and then do your routine every day for like 2 weeks prior to the pageant, you know, consult with Jesse if you do this or not, whatever. But like your body's like, oh, okay, we're just practicing again. So you're more on autopilot, so you can have fun with it and you can be relaxed in the process.
Yeah, you should also have someone with a stopwatch that times you to put your outfit on and do your, I'm totally kidding. Because like true, you will have a lot of those quick changes during your pageant. So, I mean, definitely don't take your time. Get used to putting that hook and eye together really quick, so that way it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, if it doesn't hit the first time, you're not going to panic. So just a little kind of joking addition to that. But just to clarify for those listening, if they're hearing the words Alpha Awards for the first time, Alpha means first time contestant. So just the novices are eligible. So a lot of pageants do this to encourage the newcomers to come back and compete, as like usually veterans will win the big awards, the overall awards, and the novices are left like clapping, kind of feeling discouraged. So they do this to highlight the first timer so they feel compelled to come back. So just if you had never heard that before. So Savvy won, she was competing for Miss Arkansas. She won Alpha Preliminary Talent for her jazz dance, and she danced to They Just Keep Moving the Line from the hit television show Smash. On the final night of preliminary competition, she won the Alpha Preliminary Lifestyle and Fitness Swimsuit Award, and tied Savannah Skidmore for the overall preliminary lifestyle and fitness and swimsuit. So she won the newcomer award for talent and swimsuit, and she won the overall for swimsuit. So then it came time for finals night, and just like we talked about earlier, things kind of changed.
Well, it looked like those 2-a-days at the gym paid off for Savvy, but her feelings started to shift. And her mom brought her dinner before finals, and Savvy just broke down. She said she had this feeling that she was going to win, but started experiencing self-doubt about her ability to actually do the job, like these negative thoughts that comes in.
Yeah.
And again, like Karen coming in hot with just the great mom advice. She says, well,
Karen.
Yeah. She's like, well, Savs, like you got 2 hours until the show starts, so reapply that lipstick and remember why you did this in the first place. And then mom was out. She bounced.
Yep. And as we all know, she went on to be crowned Miss Arkansas 2016 at the end of the 79th annual Miss Arkansas Scholarship Pageant. And it was also announced during the final night of competition that Savvy won the overall evening gown award winner, the overall swimsuit award, the overall alpha evening gown award, overall alpha talent, overall alpha swimsuit, and overall alpha interview award. So she basically killed it.
That was like a clean sweep there. So
yep.
Miss Arkansas was one of the last state pageants, and 9 hours after winning her state title, Savvy was on a plane heading to Miss America orientation, which was like full of selfies and laughter. However, Savvy remembers that the CEO, Sam Haskell, at the time said to follow our hearts, be ourselves, and be kind. This was the best advice I received in preparation for Miss America.
I'm not going to say what I want to say now. Well, that's good advice. I'll say that.
Yes.
Then in early September, she headed off to compete at the 90th annual Miss America pageant in early September. And like any girl like herself who had been watching the Miss America pageant since age 8, she teared up as she stepped onto the stage of Boardwalk Hall. And she really recognized in that moment the nostalgia and history of Miss America, and she was a part of it.
Yeah, and during the preliminary competition, Shields won a preliminary talent award during the second night of preliminary competition for the same jazz routine that actually won her the state. I mean, she didn't have a whole lot of time to learn a whole new routine, right? So it makes sense to just repeat what worked. And that's when the public really recognized that the judges and like all of us, like sitting at home watching her, were just like falling in love with her too.
Yeah, she is effervescent to say the least. And during that finals night of competition, she had like she did when she was competing before, like she had a total peace and gut feeling that it was her time. And she made the cut for top 15, then the top 12, then the top 10, and finally down to the top 7. And when she was on stage, she mentioned dreaming of being a backup dancer for Beyonce. And she was tested by political questions about her opinion on Hillary Clinton. So it certainly wasn't a totally easy road for her without controversy as far as any contestant answering a final question on stage during a national pageant of any type. But we do have links to all of these on YouTube, so you can take a look if you want.
Yeah, and after 2 hours and 6 costume changes, Chris Harrison announced Arkansas as the new Miss America. And for context, she was crowned by outgoing Miss America 2016, Betty Cantrell. Rachel White of South Carolina, a former Miss America's Outstanding Teen, was first runner-up. And there's a lot of speculation about Rachel being successful and a front runner. So it was like a really tense moment. Like Rachel, for those of you who are new, like a front runner is someone who's kind of predicted to win. So Rachel was really there and predicted to win, and so she was in the outstanding program too. So just so much tension, and we know how the story ends.
Yeah, and so she was the third Miss Arkansas to win Miss America and the first since Elizabeth Ward in 1982. So it had been a long time for Arkansas to wait. And during the evening of competition, Savvy just wore a really simple black velvet strapless gown. And when she won Collegiate America, fun fact, she wore black also. So I think the simplicity of Savvy really perpetuated like those current trends of simple going a long way. We're still seeing that in pageants across the world. So she was a part of that and allowing her personality to shine.
Yeah, and for the next year, Savvy traveled around the country as Miss America. She promoted her platform, Eat Better, Live Better. She also served as the national spokesperson for Children's Miracle Network and and since platform is the key component to Miss America, let's take a minute to just kind of learn more about that.
Yeah, so her platform, like we said, is Eat Better, Live Better. And it aims to educate people on how the foods we eat make an impact on our lives as a whole. So she founded that platform after she battled with unhealthy eating in college, which a lot of people can relate to, and it led to some problems for her. So she made nutrition, educating people about healthy habits her platform, and you're using it as an educational tool.
Yeah, and in some parts of the world, like you're not necessarily familiar with platform, but this is also like you adopt a nonprofit organization or a cause that you want to back or represent like during your reign. So it's all kind of interchangeable. So she told Fayetteville's KSFM in an interview, she said, I think sometimes healthy eating and healthy lifestyle comes with negative connotations and even scary connotations. So my thing is learning about this process. The only thing that I need to learn is tactical and tangible ways to do so.
Yep, and she talks all about like one of her favorite dinners, Brussels sprouts and salmon for the win. Season them with salt, pepper, paprika, you're good to go. And when she was competing, her Instagram was flooded with pictures of delicious, healthy meals and even had a hashtag of Healthy Tip Tuesdays. And she did such great work that in 2017, she was appointed by the honorary chair and statewide ambassador for Healthy Active Arkansas initiative by Governor Asha Hutchinson. And the initiative is aimed toward the education and implementation of health goals for the state of Arkansas. So huge accomplishment there too.
Well, I must say I love Brussels sprouts and salmon. I eat it like weekly too. So like go Savvy. After crowning her successor, Shields returned to the University of Arkansas to finish her degree using that Miss America money. I'm sure she, paid it all off. And Shields had taken time off of school to fulfill her duties as both Miss Arkansas and Miss America, which, she was Miss Arkansas for a minute. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of Miss Americas allow their scholarships to go away. So I'm really glad to see that. And
one aspect beyond Savvy competing in pageantry that fans have become obsessed with is her relationship with longtime boyfriend and now husband Nate Wolf. The two got married last July in Bentonville, Arkansas. Super clever hashtag, I might add, hashtag Savvy's Soulmate. So cute. And based on photos, she had a ton of bridesmaids, 10 bridesmaids, and there were guests that you might recognize, for instance, Sarah Klein, Miss Oklahoma from her class, attended, and I think there might have been some others too.
Yeah, and for the wedding, Shields, she wore a fitted Berta gown covered head to toe in lace. The gown featured spaghetti straps and a really deep V, and she accessorized with a cathedral tulle veil. And the coolest part was that she was featured in the Not exclusive, for any person obsessed with weddings or getting to know how crazy exciting it is. And to be featured inside the Not is just a really big deal.
Yes, and she was featured in the Inside Weddings as well. I'm that person you were just talking about. So I was obsessed. I'm favorite. I'm I want to repeat this. I want to replicate this. So total trendsetter. And right now, so she's married, she's traveling, she's always being savvy. And if you remember, when she was experiencing her teenage angst, even still, she was an avid artist. So right now she's rediscovering her love of painting since she's crowned her successor. And on her website, she writes about the joy of picking up a paintbrush again. And I'll quote, 2 weeks ago when I went to Matt and Meredith Boyd's home, I glanced at their back porch and saw a blank canvas. And I knew a beautiful and therapeutic evening was ahead. I love a blank canvas for all of the artistic and cliche reasons, new possibilities, a fresh start, anything is possible, all those cheesy but true feelings.
And at first, she was not sure what to paint. However, she went back to the Dancing Girls series. She started in their junior year of college, and she started selling her work on her website. So, to quote her, she said, "Art has now become much more than just my major, but has manifested itself in every area of my life, from opening my mind to making me a harder worker to finding out how to bring art into my everyday life, has added so many more colors and a color palette of my life."
Oh, I love that.
Very artistic thing to say, right?
Oh my gosh, totally. It's something an artist would say. So before we summarize, let's say one more of our Instagram followers' comments, because there were so many. So it would be a shame to not say at least one more.
Okay, so this is from Tessa.Lillian. She said, I love Savvy Jane so much. Her heart, her authenticity, her transparency, her ability to make you feel very special, her insight and encouragement for women and young girls. She's just incredibly humble and loving. And on top of it all, she's so fun. And I can attest to this. Like when we were at the Miss America dinner with my wife and I, and all the Miss Americas are there, we were at Morton's. Like she's just a ball. Like her table was like constantly laughing, and then afterwards when we were all just talking, she was just the life of the party. So I mean, totally agree with what Tessa's saying.
So to wrap it all up, every time you compete, you offer yourself the opportunity to grow. And we've said this before, both as a contestant and as a person. And Savvy, across the board, she was unapologetically herself throughout her reign, despite moments of doubt. And she really capitalized on every part of the competition to help shape her into the woman that she is today. And she did not allow crowns to push her in the direction. She allowed life to take its course. And as a result, she was successful. And even though she's a former, Savvy is still shaped by the opportunities offered to her through pageants. She gained character qualities, friendships, and a new perspective on how she views the world around her, which is something that we can't say enough about the pageant industry in general.
And thanks for listening. And if you've received any benefit from this show or for ones previous, please consider giving us a 5-star review. It might seem like a small action, but it really does. It helps us keep the show going. Until next time.
Want to become a part of pageant history? Create a free contestant or business profile on PageantPlanet.com to unlock hidden features and connect with other experts throughout the world.